合唱。ナモ阿弥陀仏。
ナモ阿弥陀仏。
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 ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモアンダーツ。ナモアンダーツ。ナモアンダーツ。
Shishinrai. Shishin Juseige. Gagon Chosegan Hishimu Jodo Shigan Fumanzo Seifu Joshogan Gao Muryoko Fui Dai Seshu Fusai Shobingu Seifu Joshogan Gashi Jobundo Myosho Chojipo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Joshogan Ryokujin Shonen Joe Shubongyo Shigumu Jodo Isho Teninshi Jindiki Endai Ko Fusho Musaido Shoujo Sankumyo 最終約難回避知恵言滅し根門閉塞小悪道通断全宗門高僧上満蔵いよろじぽ日願修十期天候音普賢一種解放像公正功徳法上大修十説法ししく供養一切部具足修徳本願念心上満得意三害を女分無下し通断未不詳願学へり投資最小尊志願や交換大戦の感動国書天人東宇珍妙見ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブ願にしくどく平等聖祭道本母大心往生ナモアミダ仏。
ナモアミダ仏。
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 ナモアミダ仏。ナマンダス。ナマンダス。ナマンダス。
We'll now recite the Golden Chain, which is on page 107 in the Denver Blue Service Book. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends my happiness and misery. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda.
We'll now have our Dharma talk for our YouTube service this Sunday. If you could please join me in Gasho. Asasuyo ni jodo mairi no keiko kana. The morning dew teaches the way to the Pure Land. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. So that haiku or short poem was written by the Japanese poet Issa Kobayashi in the early 1800s, late 1700s. The exact date on this one isn't as well known as some of his other poems, but I really enjoy it because it kind of looks at this concept of impermanence or the fact that everything is changing. And I'll be honest, when I was working on figuring out what I was going to do for a Dharma talk, up till a couple days ago, I really had no idea what I was going to talk about. And in the process, something happened to me in my life, which is only really important to me in my life, but helped me realize that everything is changing. One of the last things that I owned, that I still use every single day, prior to me first hearing the teachings of Shinran Shonen and prior to me hearing the Nembutsu teachings, was my laptop. I bought this laptop at the end of 2011. It was an MSI GT60 with a Core i7 3610 QM, awesome processor for any computer geeks out there, which I bet is going to be just me, and an NVIDIA GTX 670M graphics card. So at the time, it was like a $3,000 laptop. It is something that I had saved a bunch of money up for and bought it, which is why 9 years later, I was still using the same laptop. And sadly, 2 days ago, the motherboard finally let go. It was actually the second motherboard on this computer, as well as the memory, and I've replaced all the hard drives and everything else. So in a lot of ways, it wasn't even the same computer I bought originally, but it died. And that kind of left me in a position where I did have a cheap Ultrabook that I'm using now. And in my process of going to get this Ultrabook, which was sitting on my shelf near my books, I ran across a book I bought about a year and a half ago with the intention of improving my Japanese. And that book is this one. And hopefully you guys can see it. And it is a Jodo Shinshu book written in both simple Japanese and simple English by a fairly famous Jodo Shinshu priest in Japan, Shojin Ogi. And on the front of it, in English, it says, "Everything is changing." And so I thought that was an appropriate subject for today's talk. And in finding a subject for the talk today, it wasn't that I couldn't think of anything to talk about, but rather there's so much happening in the world right now that it's hard to focus on one individual thing to talk about. And in looking for further inspiration, I also came across what's become one of my favorite books, this one, the Jodo Shinshu Handbook for Laymen. And while I've already read you a beautiful poem from Issa, I'm going to read a quick little section from here talking about impermanence. This is actually section 2. What is the purpose of human life? This question was asked of the Buddha, who answered with the following parable. Once there was a hare who was thinking and preparing for the future. During the autumn, he gathered nuts and stowed them away in the mountain. He had some kind of marker for his hiding place, So he looked up into the sky and decided that the cloud overhead would serve quite well. But just as we all know, clouds are in motion all the time. So in the end, the hare's efforts turned out to be of no avail. And I kind of thought that this was a really interesting passage to talk about our attachments and our plans for the future. If anyone made plans in the last year, I'm sorry. Tough. Because that ain't going to happen. Okay, moving on. I've got some plans that are also not happening, so trust me, we're right there. I feel you. But I started thinking today about the pain and outrage we're seeing from separate groups here in the country. And while we have had the narrative over the last couple of weeks here at TSDBT of talking about race relations and everything else, one of the turning points in the subject seems to be symbology of previous aspects of our culture, and that's been coming through statues. So some of you may or may not know, I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico originally. And next to the Basilica in downtown Santa Fe, there was a statue of a gentleman named de Vargas. And de Vargas was considered one of the conquistadors and one of the people that settled New Mexico. He, as I was taught in school, put down the Second Pueblo Revolt and is taught as a hero. So if you go to Fiestas de la Santa Fe, there is the procession of the conquistador with La Conquistadora, which is a representation of the holy figure for the Catholic people, Our Lady of Victory, which is a kind of like a Virgin Mary sort of thing going on. And they talk about how de Vargas brought this into Santa Fe and brought peace to Santa Fe through basically long periods of cold and hot war with the native Pueblo Indians. So that statue was removed last week, kind of coinciding with the removal of a bunch of traders' statues down in the South, who for some reason was really keen on celebrating those that lost a war. I have some strong opinions about that, and in no strong way think that they should all be tossed and broken into rubble that will make great asphalt streets. But this statue here of de Vargas was a little different in that he represented, for Santa Fe, this aspect of like, this is our culture. At the same time, represented a large amount of pain for the Pueblo people who originally inhabited what is my hometown. And so the statue of de Vargas was removed. And from a lot of my classmates I went to high school with, and a lot of these other people, they were like, you can't do this, you're removing our culture, this is what Santa Fe is, like we're true, like Nuevo Mexicanos, like you can't take this from us, this is, how will we know who we are? And this grip and holding on to this idea of the past that makes them conquerors and makes them winners. And it was hard because a lot of these people that were having these problems are people that I think of as extremely intelligent and loving and kind people, and yet they were outraged. And I saw both sides in a certain way because, you know, I would be sad if for some reason we removed the statue of Reverend Tamai from in front of our temple. But then again, Reverend Tamai also didn't slaughter a bunch of Pueblo Indians, so it's kind of a win or lose there. But I think what a lot of these people didn't understand is everything's going to change. That statue doesn't mean anything other than it's rock that's been removed from other rock to form the idea of a person. This is changing. And their attachment to that ideal that is mostly false of de Vargas and what de Vargas represents is causing them pain. And at the same time, without considering the pain that is causing to other people. And I think that the same can be said of the traitor statues down in the South of the Confederate soldiers and the use of the Stars and Bars Confederate battle flag. These are all representations of culture for some, but pain for most. And the reason that they are so broken up about it is it not only symbolizes a change in how they see like this small statue and like what's in a park or anything else, but a change from their status within the world. Certain demographics within the United States have enjoyed a long period of time of privilege. I'm a member of one of those demographics. I'm, a white person of mostly Irish and English descent. And because of that, I've never questioned whether or not I was going to be allowed into a program or a school or anything else that I have the grades and things to achieve. I never actually questioned whether or not I was going to be allowed to be a Jodo Shinshu minister. I just knew if I worked really hard, no one would say like, oh, you can't do this because I'm XYZ. And our friends, neighbors, brothers and sisters of other ethnic and cultural backgrounds don't have that privilege. And so we're seeing realization of that to a level that is new within our society. And for us as Buddhists, we may be able to recognize why the backlash is so strong. Everything is changing. Impermanence is a truth for us. We live every day with the knowledge that everything tomorrow is different, that we are made up of all the results that have come before us, and also will be different tomorrow because everything that happens today will change who we are in our pathway that we're going down. And for us, we're very lucky in the fact that we realize that we only see a tiny aspect of the world. We see the world through our tiny pinhole camera lens. And we want that picture to be as bright and cheery and sunny for us as it possibly can be. We can take that pinhole camera lens away and see the world as it is through the Nembutsu and the Namo Amida Butsu. And so this is our luck and our causes and conditions leading us to this practice and to the gratitude that the Nembutsu gives us. And in saying Namo Amida Butsu and being fully embraced by the infinite compassion and love of Amida Buddha, we have the ability to show compassion to these people who may be in pain because they don't understand why the world is falling apart for them. Is the world falling apart? No. Coronavirus is really horrible, and that's not great, but the world is improving. But for these individual peoples, their causes and conditions and their understanding of the world is failing. And while I celebrate that personally, I also feel deep compassion for these people because they're going to have to change. Everything is changing. And as we know, the attachment is the cause of our pain. So as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, as followers of the teaching of Shinran Shonin, and as Nembutsu, brothers and sisters, let's use the infinite compassion, wisdom, and love showing to us by Amida-sama and do what we can to understand and guide the change of these people so that they may see the light shining off of us and see the light in the world to know that no, it's not all ending. And in fact, in the end, this will be better. Transition is hard, but it's good. Please join me in Gassho. Atsasuyu ni jodo mirai no keiko kana. The morning dew teaches the way to the Pure Land. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.